Welcome to the iDate 2011 Moscow post-conference video.
I can't believe we're in Moscow.
We're in the conference room. It's all over. Everybody went home.
No, they're all here.
They're hiding.
They're all hiding. They're all recovering from the vodka.
Yeah, we had a vodka session. But now it's our classic post-conference video. We're going to talk about what happened at the event and give the highlights, things you missed if you weren't there.
By the way, we did live blog for both days. There's only a couple of sessions I missed. The intention of that was to just pick off the main numbers and the key points that we think are the essentials that you should take away.
Let's also take a look at our keynote, which was Love Planet. This is one of the first time we ever had two kingpins in a region speak at the same event. And one was Andrei Bernetsky from Mamba, and the other was Maxime Hramov from a subsidiary of Media Meter, Love Planet. And
which are the number 1 and 2 players.
Number 1 and 2 players in the market. And
Mamba has over 50% of the market share.
What most of the people didn't know, even at the conference, was Andre and Maxime had never met ever in person, even though they're in the same town. They both live in Moscow. They never, and the largest players, they never met. And I actually walked. Today I walked Andre down and actually introduced the two of them, and they both sat for lunch for about 45 minutes. It was the first time.
A little apprehensive to start off with.
Not really.
No.
They were eager to meet each other.
Yeah.
Absolutely, totally. For those of you that missed this event, just like iDate Miami this last year, people I'd never seen before in the business. You've never seen before in the business. Never heard of them. Never even heard of them. You know, and it was great meeting the guys at Love Planet for the first time. Wow, big dating site. And here they are, right in front of us. And all the sites that spoke and some of the other guys that came. And the thing was, if you wanted to turn back the clock and see what it was like in January 2004 at iDate Miami, the first iDate Miami, where everybody's looking at each other like this. You know, who the hell are you? I'm not going to tell you a damn thing. That was it. And the ice was broken right there. And people got to talking. We wanted our environment, the friendly atmospheric environment, it's camaraderie. It's a Russian word, camaraderie and friendship, just openness. And so we opened it here. And you know, at first it took a while for the ice to thaw, but once it thawed, people opened up out here. You know, the smiles were everywhere.
Well, good, especially after the vodka.
Yeah, and there was vodka. The reporter that you had, Dan Slade, he made an interesting observation that the focus of marketing here in this region is on the man. The woman is clearly secondary. In other words, they're making almost an automatic assumption that the woman is coming to the dating site and that the man is the one they're marketing to. But most of the dating industry in America, it's usually the other way around. They're marketing to women because they need more women on the site. And Dan brought that up on the final panel, and his media meter, basically, he didn't get insulted, but it was like, you know, hey, that's the way we do business around here.
And what pairs into that, we had a matchmaker along, Rosa, who's basically the Patti Stanger of Russia. She's very famous here and in the Ukraine, so she's got a huge audience here. We had her along. She spoke about matchmaking and the differences. One of the key differences between matchmaking in Russia with her service and matchmaking in America and UK was that she said she spent 6 months matching and finding her clients a partner, who were predominantly women. So she'd find a woman a partner, and then the other 6 months she would spend keeping them together. Well, that's unusual. They have to be. So she spent a lot of time after the match, after somebody's happy in a relationship, to make sure it stays together as well. In some ways, we hear the demographics are a little skewed towards in favor of the male.
In fact, also she announced that she's got a school to teach matchmakers, and that's being done in Russia. And because she's such a big television presence out here,
5%. You remember that number? Conversions, typically 5% paying members. That's an important number to know in Russia.
Another 5% number was if you're going to do business in Russia, your payment processing fees amount to about 5%.
Yeah, which isn't too bad. The terminals are about 5%. Kiwi was set up to 5%, so you can do 4 or 5%.
You just want a magic number. I gave you a magic number.
But that's better
to remember.
I mean,
and these guys, what was amazing about the 5% was that the people in the room said, hey, we can deal with that. We can be fine.
Considering there's a terminal and there's cash involved, that's not too bad, really.
Meanwhile, in Miami, you guys, if I mention anything over, 0.25%, oh my God, it's,
Well, typically
it's
payment
coming
cards
out
are
of water.
more on the order of 7-8%. So given the volumes that they must have here, given that that's the predominant method of payment, credit cards are very few and far between, and there's no way Russians will not pay monthly automatically recurring charge. It just doesn't fit in with the culture either. Because we had some really good talk actually from the billing providers. We had Kiwi, and we had Skrill,
and last minute we brought in Honor. We just got off the plane from Payment Wall.
Good numbers, a real insight.
We asked, one of the questions we asked were how many different alternative payment providers existed in Russia, and the general number that is semi-quasi agreed upon is 35 or 40 different alternative payment providers in Russia. However, it narrowed it down really to 3 or 4 big ones. Honor said that he believes that the Yandex payment system, whose name escapes me, but it's Yandex, he will be the leader because of their penetration. Kiwi has 40% of, I think, the online payments market. Payments. Where cash is king here, that's for sure. Most people pay on the machines on the streets.
But imagine that. Conversions must be horrendous, really. If you imagine you've got to go to a machine, put money in, and then you can join the dating site.
Yeah, but I've seen these machines. I don't know if you've seen these machines. It's like these payment, like your bill pay for your bank, where you can pay all your bills. It's the same kind of thing. You could pay almost all your bills at the machine. So if you could pay for your subscription to Mamba, then fine. The problem was they said you got to basically everybody gets a cut. Right? It's kind of like almost like saying if you're doing SMS billing or mobile subscription basis, where the half the money that the carrier collects they keep and you get half. It's not exactly like that, but there's so many layers along the way that you have to pay. The guy who makes the machine, the guy who makes the software, etc., and all that has to be paid out for you to get in this machine. It's not easy. Tiamo
eHarmony of Russia. They were specifically inspired by eHarmony. And that's what they try to recreate. It's a serious dating site. Tends to skew younger. eHarmony tends to be 35 plus. Tiamo is more in the 20-somethings. And it's interesting that people do tend to get married a lot younger here. So.
And then City Date also. They do speed dating. So this was speed dating in Russia. What were your takes on that?
And typically in the West, speed dating services skew 35 plus. Her service was in the 20-somethings again.
Oh, a younger crowd.
Yeah.
Interesting. The other thing also I picked out of this event as well, in the West there's this just affinity toward mobile. Everybody's screaming about it. So iDate is going to be just pretty much mobile. Here, there was an interest in mobile among the Russian dating sites. There's some development in it, but they're not gung-ho for it because very few people are on mobile. They have mobile smartphones here. Very few.
Now there's a statistic that came up. Over 50% of the money collected on internet dating services comes from premium SMS.
One of the things also at the event, and also it was actually discussed during the final panel session, was affiliate marketing in the dating industry. And at this conference, we had quite a few affiliates here, and one just shocked me, actually.
7 years experience, no less.
He'd been affiliate marketing for 7 years, and
good advice, too.
he was a dating affiliate for like 4 to 6 years, something like that, which makes him like a grandfather. Dating affiliate marketing. We went out to the nightclub, and he actually explained to me how he tests his market and his methods, which I will not reveal, but it was... No, I can't. Okay. No. It would do anything. So... He really did explain some very interesting things to me, how much he pays for CPM rates, some interesting ways of marketing that he does. Just to give you an example of this guy, he met affiliate programs here he didn't even know existed. And he met the CEOs directly, and they were ecstatic. And they were ecstatic to meet with this guy, as well as the other affiliates, but this guy especially, because he was experienced and really knew stuff.
And that's where I think I've talked to site CEOs before, and they've said, well, we just don't accept affiliates from certain demographics, certain geographics in the world. I remember some very significant affiliates from Russia. It's a shame that a lot of services kind of just cut off and write off people. It's very difficult to prejudge affiliates. You've got to give them a chance, give them a chance to really show what they can do.
Well, I've run affiliate events before. What I've learned about affiliates, there's a certain portion of affiliates that are a big talk, they're a big wind, and they don't do anything.
There's some numbers that were mentioned,
and vice versa. I've seen guys that were worthless And turns out these are geniuses affiliates that are making ridiculous sums of cash.
Well, the best
The
affiliates
biggest
want to
affiliates.
stay quiet.
Yep, I've seen that at the casino events.
We've got some good conversion numbers in terms of what they pay out here for affiliates. There was one of the sites that said they would get 1,000 registrants a month, and they paid the equivalent of $785 for that.
This reminds me of Monty Python bit.
When I was a lad, we used to
When I was a
wake
lad,
up in the morning.
when I was a lad.
We
When
used to
I
wake
was
up
a
in the
lad
morning,
as an affiliate, you know.
lick roll clean wet tongue.
Look at my statistics.
You
Go all
were
the
lucky.
affiliate managers.
You were an affiliate manager.
10%. Yeah, it was discussed even in the final panel, and the affiliate had some interesting suggestions. One of his suggestions to the entire industry was he doesn't believe that the industry is doing enough A/B split testing on their landing pages. He says, you guys need to do more, and he says, because you're not, he says, you're killing my conversions.
Yeah. Basically, an affiliate will throw 300, 400 clicks at a site. If it doesn't convert, he's out of there. So, and that's what he was saying. He would split test all of his programs, see which ones convert the best, and then he'll run with those.
That's what I remember he saying. Split test for 4 weeks, I think was the amount. And he says, if you're not performing, you're off. You're dead. Yeah.
So, moral of the story is make sure that you put up landing pages that convert from the outset, not test with the affiliate.
Okay, so the final panel, you missed it. We had vodka there. If you were in Paris, we had wine and cheese. If you were in Tokyo, we had sake. So we're in Russia. We had Upfrit.com, sort of a casual dating site, if you will, that they've sponsored the vodka and stuff like that. So we thank them for that, and it was really fun. The name Max Polyakov and
an Amrit site.
Something.
Yeah.
Max, sorry you couldn't make it, and congratulations on having your baby. That's for Max Polyakov from Cuba. We had a question if people want to have this once a year here. There seemed to be some interest. We're going to weigh our options on this.
But this would be in addition to another European event, or
probably in addition to another European
Wonderful.
event. We had Neil Bryant from Anastasia Date, and actually I had a good portion of the team from Anastasia Date International came down.
Very good speaker.
I agree. They didn't want to be branded, should we say, as a foreign bride site. They want to be seen as a dating site. That was the interesting part.
Yes, I mean their
He
services.
made that very firm.
The title that they don't like is the
Mail order
bride.
bride.
They hate that.
Yeah.
So the real terminology now is premium international dating service, which fits.
But they still had to comply with the laws in the United States of IMBRA, which require them to do background checks on the men that want to meet the women because of the percentage of women that they provide there.
So somebody had the bright idea to ask the question, how many people does it take to be able to maintain IMBRA for Anastasia Day? The answer was
25, I
30.
think.
30 people, no less, full-time.
Well, no, I thought it was 15 people full-time.
No, 30 people full-time. 100% sure.
You and I are good with numbers, aren't we?
It's definitely 30
If we were
people.
business partners, we're like, hey, it's
Numbers
15.
hide you.
Hey, it's 30. Okay.
No, I've got it in my notes. How much you want to bet? I'll bet $100.
50, you said.
Oh, 100.